from Cranberry Portage. Thought there was going to be a lot of other people from Winnipeg here with me, but apparently you all decided to stay back in Winnipeg, so here I am. So I'm delighted today to have the opportunity to present. I'm Darrell Cole. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Career Trek, and this is
Daryl Shotton. I'm the Program Manager for the Norman region, also for Career Trek.
So we're going to take this opportunity to provide you with a little bit of a quick overview of Career Trek and tell you a little bit about the program that we run in the Norman region. Our program is all about engagement, and we're really excited to be able to share it with you. Just before we start the formal start of the program, I just wanted to reflect on a couple of things that happened this morning when I heard Rob and Gerald speak. It was great, very provocative, and it really spoke to, some things that I think we all really need to be thinking about. One of them was, we often like to cite authors or academics or scientists as often being the people who discover things. And so when we talked about epigenetics today, I was thinking, well, this is a little late to the race. I was thinking about how my poor mother, every time she would come and talk to my younger brother about something he was doing that was bad, and she would be admonishing him and she was exasperated, he would look at her and say every time and say, "I'm a product of my environment." And that would just gut my poor mother, who still to this day owns that, and it's just sad. But it really, my brother in being a bit of a, really tapped into something when he was talking about I'm a product of my environment, right? Even though that was done in a very silly way. He understood that, he was reacting to some of the things, truthfully, many times, the way he had been raised by my parents, right? Or the way I treated him as a younger brother. And so it was just, I think we've all known that exists. It's just, now maybe perhaps we're recognizing it in a different way. I was also really struck by some of the things when we talked about involvement and I guess meaningful involvement. And I wondered about some of the things. I know we were talking about the acronym of REAL, and I wondered, and maybe it's under the part about being active, but about intensity in REAL, because in my experience all those attributes of REAL are important, but we've learned in our lessons that even when we have a relationship and we're active and we're doing all those things, that it's also important to have a certain level of intensity. And often the intensity has to meet the challenges that the kids are dealing with. And so even when we've had really good relationships with kids, they need more of our time, and sometimes we can't provide that, and so I thought that was really important. And I'm hoping, we'll go through our program now, but I want to share a quick story about engagement at the end, and I hope that it's a nice wrap-up for us. So I'm going to start by giving you a quick rundown on Career Trek. I'm sure many of you know about Career Trek if you're in Winnipeg. That's not a good sign.
I'll grab this to you.
Okay.
Slideshow.
Okay. Oh, thanks. Sorry. All right, you can just advance it there. So we thought we'd share some of the key program elements with you that are really based, and I think if you'll reflect on some of the earlier presentations today and connect it to what we're talking about, you'll see that many of us, you heard the presentations from Frontier School Division, lots of us are actually very active doing these things. And so for Career Trek, it's really important that we're providing young people with experiences, certainly reflection too, but at the core of it is that we're providing young people with amazing experiences, because it's experiences that shape us. And some people don't have positive experiences, or some people, as a result of their life, don't have a lot of experiences with the outside world, with different occupations, with different types of people. So it's really important that we think that we do that. And the other thing is, often for young people, they're often in a position where they depend on adults to help them to decide what to do with their life. And so we really want to help young people become self-aware and self-actualized so they can be in control of their life. And we're there more to facilitate and support. We try to make all of our programs very accessible in every conceivable way, whether it's kids with disability, whether it's low-income families. We charge fees for our programs, which are very small, often $20 a year. We don't do it to make money, we do it because it's a down payment on someone's commitment to our program. And when families don't have a lot of money, we actually allow them to give us an item of emotional value in lieu of money as their stake and commitment to the program. Our programming is long-term, so we talked about scaffolding today, and all of our programming is developmental and long-term. In our case, we start our programs at the age of 10, and we stay with kids up to and when they are in post-secondary study, which I'll get to and elaborate on. Everything we do is performance-based, so we want the kids to earn it. So it's very accessible, but at the same time it has to be meaningful. We recently had a situation where one of our participating school divisions had said they wanted to have a policy where families didn't pay anything anymore because it was excluding families, and we felt that was wrong. We want people to know there's something at stake. We want the kids to know there's something at stake, so all of the kids sign a contract, and the parents sign a contract that enshrines their responsibility and also enshrines our responsibility to them. It's very plain English, very simple, but we want the kids right before they even really started the program. Your word means something. So we use career development as our primary vehicle for engaging young people. We think it's a field that's probably just really coming into its own right now. For those who are around my age, which is about 23, you'll remember that career development, as it was called at the time, wasn't too exciting, and we were often received no guidance at all until maybe grade 12. Went to a career day, got a bag, chocolates, pens, and were then sort of really, and then your parents would say, so now what are you going to do with the rest of your life? Not very helpful, so we're trying to use career development, but in a much more dynamic way. We want all kids to get life skills that they're going to need to be successful, not in an occupation, not just in school, but obviously because it's called life skills, we want them to be successful in life. And that's not just skills, as we'll talk about, but it also includes values, which we often think are not incorporated. We spend a lot of time talking about skills, which are important, but what about value sets? So again, we start with kids when they're young, try to get to kids when they're 10 years old when we're talking about career development, and stay with them for a long time. I'd like to start earlier, but that's where we're at. Our programming is holistic. You've all heard the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child, which we agree with. Who has a stake in a young person turning out okay? We all do. Therefore, everyone should be at the table, and so Career Trek programming insists that everyone's involved, everyone who's relevant in a child's life, the family, the school divisions, industry, government, not-for-profit sector, everyone has to be involved in the program in some way, shape, or form. Again, I mentioned values and moral development we think is really important, and I mentioned to someone here in Cranberry earlier that I think if we just get kids to be highly educated and highly skilled and we don't worry about moral development, we actually could be creating dangerous little people. Because we all know lots of people who are highly educated, highly skilled, and are people you'd never really turn your back on, right? And so that's no accomplishment. We don't want that. And of course, love. Without sounding too trite about it, it's really important that we love the kids. It's important that kids know that they're loved. Not just by their mom and their dad, that they're loved by their community, and that wherever they go, they're safe, and they can feel like they're always supported. So I'm just going to, one slide at a time, tell you about some of our programs. So our first program is the Wonder of Work program in Winnipeg. It's a large, complex program that involves University of Manitoba, Winnipeg, Red River College, 17 post-secondary departments and faculties, 5 school divisions, 64 schools, and we bring in 240 families every year. We provide transportation. We run 9 bus routes every Saturday that pick up all of the kids and take them to the program. We provide all supplies through the generous in-kind support of our partners. All the kids get toques and yearbooks, and we have an amazing graduation ceremony. No disrespect to my university partners, but any of you who have convocated at university and remember that, will remember it's a very long, not very exciting process, so we've tried to develop something that's a little more upbeat. In our program, we always have family days, and on family days, our staff and the children run the program, and the family members who come, the adults, become the students. We think this is really important for a whole bunch of reasons. One is that it helps families bond. As a parent, it's often easy to forget that your child is amazing because you have to parent them, and that can be frustrating. So when you get to see them in a situation where they're highly competent, and not just being competent but actually teaching you, it reminds you how amazing children are and what we can do with them and turn them into. We also want to be clear that it's very hard to be a parent. And so, you sit at home and you're trying to be a good parent, and your kids are learning amazing things in school today. The problem is you're not learning the amazing things that kids are learning in school today. So how do you help your kids, guide your kids through that process, especially when you're in a rapidly changing world? And so our hope is that we teach the families what we teach the kids, and then they can all sit at the kitchen table together and have a really good discussion together. I should mention that process has been so successful, we underestimated the impact of it, but we thought they'd be there for their kids, and we quickly realized the adults were coming there and thinking about themselves, because they had never had an opportunity to go out and explore and engage and do the things their children do. That's why they're so committed in the program as parents, which I love. But we've had many of the adults now go and return to school because they've had a chance to try things and they've discovered something in the program for 10-year-olds that they like. That reaction's been so significant, we're now in the process of opening adult career trek. So Get Ready to Work program is in grade 9. And again, this is a developmental program. We don't have anything currently in grade 7 and 8 because of the resources we have at our disposal. We can't do every year right now, but that's our goal. So in grade 9, after being in our first program where the kids get to try 80 occupations in 17 different fields in the Winnipeg program, in grade 9 the kids, all of this is outside of school hours, can pick a program or an occupation they're interested in and do intense small group work with professionals in the field. So we have kids doing radiation therapy, we have our own theater program, we have our own radio program, we have kids working in the aerospace industry, culinary arts, it doesn't matter. This was exciting because one of the discoveries with this was kids, 2 things. They won't just take things because they want to do it as a future occupation. They want to do it because they think they'll get some great skills out of it. So lots of kids take culinary arts not because they want to be a chef, because they want to learn how to cook. The other thing we learned that was really significant was how many kids are disadvantaged by being in elite academic schools. And were often regarded as the kids who are at the best schools. And what we realized through this program is, as the kids would go through it, many of the kids who went to those schools were transferring out and going to other schools, like say, for example, Tech Vaughan, because it had university stream, but it also had trades, it had college, it sort of had the whole smorgasbord, whereas many of the elite schools were clearly geared towards university. So if you were at that school and you didn't fit, you were really lost. So it was amazing watching, that's, for me, that was a paradigm shift, yeah. So our junior staff mentorship program, this is our leadership program in grade 10, so after the kids are done that, they can come in and they go through our training, our junior staff training, they go with our regular staff, and they all become junior group leaders and junior instructors. They can either work with the children, the 10 and 11-year-olds, or they can be attached to a department or faculty and help deliver the curriculum to the younger kids, whatever they want to do. It's a voluntary program, and kids can earn a high school credit. And many of the kids end up staying with us for 3 years. Our staff are all university college students. I think about 60% of them are graduates of our program, which I'll get to. Why do we use post-secondary students for our staff? They're young. 10-year-olds love them. They don't love me. They love these guys. They're dynamic. They're affordable. And they're passionate. And we've got about 280 part-time staff who work with the kids doing this, and you can see just from this picture like how the kids are engaged by people who they feel they can relate to and yet are older than them. So it's a really dynamic process. Beyond all the learning reasons to do this, there's another one. I have 280 staff from every conceivable discipline who I get to teach about child development, Aboriginal issues, poverty, newcomer issues, and every one of those people is a seed for social change in general society. That's really the game changer for me. I'll get to the staffing in a minute. The M program is a program for young mothers. Started when we were the teen pregnancy capital of Canada. So this is an amazing program for young women 14 to 20 and their children. We pick them up twice a week after school. And we have a specially modified bus. It's a school bus with infant seats bolted into each bench. So we have the best of all worlds. We have the baby seat and we've got a school bus. They go to the campuses like our other programs. We provide supper. We have a mobile childcare team that moves from institution to institution, so there's continuity of care for the young ones. We have breastfeeding breaks. It's a pretty intense program, and the young women are amazing because they've been at school all day. They go to our program at night, and our bus just drops them off in the evening at well-lit locations, and they have to bus home. So they're champions. Yeah. So we also have a Wonder of Work program is in the Westman region. Again, a large program, 3 post-secondary institutions, 8 school divisions, and 30 communities are involved in the program. So it's a slightly smaller version of the Winnipeg program. We also have the Children Rising program, which is located in the Parkland region and a couple of schools in Winnipeg. This was our first attempt to really do some intense work in First Nation communities. We don't have enough time to go into great detail about it, but it was based on, I guess, originally when we saw some of the things that were happening in Winnipeg. We were losing kids in our program. Aboriginal kids in our city programs do very well, but many of them would leave the city to go back to the res. In Winnipeg, because we have 62 schools, if families move around, they still can't get away from us because we have 62 schools and we'll just capture them wherever they are. But if they leave Winnipeg, that was a problem. So we thought this is one of the problems these kids have because they move. So there's academic dislocation, social dislocation. So we thought, why can't we provide fluid structure and meet them on their terms? So we have programming that runs in Winnipeg and on reserve with provisions for movement each way. So if people are in Winnipeg and want to go to the community for a program, they can, and vice versa. So no one loses their friends. It helps keep the community unified. It's great. And it's based on the model, and I think I heard the quote about taking their hands. When we do that, I would say it's taking each other's hands. We don't take anyone's hand. We take each other's hands, right? Because we're trying to walk together. And in fact, the philosophical foundation for this program is called Second Contact, and simply put that means first contact between Aboriginal, non-Aboriginal people, especially for Europeans, didn't go so well. So this is second contact. We're going to do it right the second time around. So we base all of our programming on the medicine wheel. All career trek programming is based on the medicine wheel. I like to tell people that we often hear about new theories, new models. The more time I spend in community doing traditional work, I realize there is nothing new. We have created nothing new. All of this stuff has existed. It predates many of the wonderful models we roll out that people like to claim as inventions often. It's all been there. And so we don't think this is something for Aboriginal kids. We think this is something for all kids, right? And for all communities. So we started this program in Skowhegan First Nation, which is about 4 hours northwest of Winnipeg, and now we do several other communities. So we provide a whole variety of programs, and essentially we do whatever it is the community feels that it needs. And we've done everything from healing ceremonies, predating Canada's apology to people. We did that when community members told us they didn't think that anybody cared about them. We said that was wrong, and we rented 2 buses, filled them with non-Aboriginal people, and said, let's go see each other. And when you share your story and you hear regular people to regular people saying what happened to you was wrong, that's when real healing starts, and so we do that. We've run a variety of programs. We don't have time to talk about them today. I could talk for 2 hours about that. And so one of the other programs that we run is, this is our newest program, is the Wonder of Work program in Norman region, and I'm now going to invite Daryl Schotten to explain a little bit about that program. Daryl.
Okay, you can see our awesome dental assistants there. One of the programs here. Wonder of Work Norman region is awesome, partly because we have such a diverse group of schools and individuals in it. And everybody comes together and does all these things as groups and become really tight friends, even after only 3 or 4 weeks. And that's what I hear a lot from the kids. You know, the most important thing about Career Track's not the careers I took, but all the people I met. I feel more comfortable. I've got friends going forward at different schools, and does really helps their self-esteem. There's the basics of it. We have 120 participants in 2 groups of 60 over 7 communities, and we have 11 different schools that are involved. And it's throughout the northwest of Manitoba. Here's a few of the occupations offered: nursing, welding, forestry tech, political studies, exploration geologist, and scoop tram drivers. So it's very diverse, but all of these occupations are stuff that you can go to school for in the north and then get hired in the north for. And they're just a lot of fun to do too. Staffing, we have lots of, most of our staff are students from University College of the North. You can see a beautiful picture of me there with my hair for the day. And we get a lot of volunteer staff from the private sector too. We have instructors from UCN who give up Saturdays to run our welding program, which is awesome. Our carpentry program, where they make birdhouses, which is very cool, and everybody gets to make their own birdhouse, decorate it, and they get to take them home, which is fun. And we've got the Northern Manitoba Mining Academy, where they bring people in from industry who volunteer their Saturdays as well. We've had people for the 5 years that we've been going that have come back every year because they love working with the kids. And the energy the kids have and the excitement to learn about these jobs is great. Plus, you know, Boston Bruins jersey, so they're cheering for the right team. Now, some of these programs that we have up here are different from anywhere else in Manitoba. Our welding program, what's really cool to me is 10-year-olds get suited up, and they get to be welders. They don't just listen about it or watch. They get to hold the torch. They melt the metal. They're the ones who get to bring home the drink holder and say, see, this was me at 10 years old. They get to do that. I'm 40, I don't get to do that. Finished carpentry, it's the most in-depth one with the birdhouses and that. And kids understand what it is to build something. A lot of these kids are like, oh, you know, we did carpentry last week. You should see this awesome thing that I'm doing in my garage now with my parents. You know, I'm building this bench, or, you know, this chair, or just random stuff. But it's love it. And it's something that you can only do here with our program. Team spirit, togetherness. You know, the kids have a lot of fun in everything that we do. And one of the things for team spirit this year is whichever team shows the most team spirit and the colors they wear the way they dye their hair and that gets to color my head for the day. So it's purple and white and everything, but the kids really get into it, and it's a lot of fun. And it just lets you know that all the people that are with you here aren't different down inside. They may have different upbringings, live different lives, but we're all, and it's a lot of fun. And it just lets you know that all the people that are with you here aren't different down inside. They may have different upbringings, live different lives, but we're all the same kind of people. We want the same kind of things. Togetherness, friends, that. And we have some challenges up here, of course. Weather, you guys may have noticed it's a little bit colder up here than other places. And unfortunately, when we're traveling on the highway, there are dead points in our cell service, which